near you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition. Hello, Michelle, Lorna, Roger. Welcome. Hello, Alethea. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today, Chris.
Good.
It's been a crazy time, actually. Lots of blessings, lots of good stuff, but also some of my friends are going through challenges beyond belief. I just found out one of my dearest friends got her whole brand new home. She just closed on it last month. That hurricane came on through, floodwaters came through and took out all her belongings, and the house is in remediation, but she lost everything, all appliances, all clothes, all furniture, you name it. And 2 weeks before I was talking to her and she was stripping the floors and having a great time moving into all the excitement of moving into a new place. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm trying to do what I can to rally the troops and find some help for her. But it's, and of course she was in the mountains of Virginia. So there's no flood insurance, because when you live in the mountains, you don't have flood insurance. And so she definitely needs some help and prayer. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So the big...
But go ahead. You have. The
Bigfoot Outlaw family. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the family members and viewers that have been affected by the hurricane and the weather. And another thing we wanted to talk about. So the Kentucky Coal Museum will be down there filming live this Friday and Saturday. We'll be down there filming. Justin's going to be helping me. But check out their website and explore the website. And we're going to be down there and, filming the school and everything. And it's pretty interesting. And of course, I cannot get a picture of the school. And the school is actually turned into a inn. And of course, I cannot get it and pulled up. I don't know why I cannot get it. But anyways, the school is turned into an inn, and it's haunted too with the museum. So we're actually going to be broadcasting 24 hours a day. And even while we sleep, we're going to have the viewers watch us. And I'm going to have extra cameras. And I was telling somebody before the show, we got some extra camera equipment and some other stuff that I just bought, and it's being shipped overnight tomorrow just for this. And so it's going to be interesting. We're going to go down to this town in Harlan, Kentucky, and meet a lot of the fans and people that watch our show. So if you're in Kentucky and you want to personally see Grizzly, come down and I will autograph your forehead. But no, come down and see me. I'll be around, and do not scare me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm already going to be scared enough. But yeah, we are sending condolences for your loss and everything. So absolutely. But we also want to say next Wednesday, you're going on a cruise?
I am. I was gifted a cruise by somebody who couldn't go at the last minute. And I said, well, I will make my schedule flexible so I could go on that. It's just a little mini 5-night, 4-day thing down out of Galveston.
Only a 5-night,
4-day.
I mean,
So it's going to Cozumel, I think, or something
Grizzly,
like that.
I'm going on a cruise, so I'm going to take the week off, and I'm not going to be able to do a show there, Grizzly.
I know, but if we'll see if I can pre-record something. Otherwise, y'all just forgive me for not being live next week. But I'll definitely be back live the week after that, and fill you in all on the phone. And if by some chance I have internet on the boat, I may still call you. I don't know. I'll have to see how it goes.
It's to be on a boat, be like, I sail away.
Sail away.
All right.
Start thinking again. That led us down a rabbit hole last time.
I know, right? What? Somebody just gifts you a cruise like that. I don't know. Grizzly take a few of her dolls to heart. Oh my shit. So look, so when I travel, I take care of my pastors, care of the sick. Right. And I take on my prayer books. And the reason why I take my prayer books is that you never know what you're going to come up with when it comes to any type of entities or prayers. And I have a lot of prayer books because I do a lot of spiritual work, and I do everything through God and only through God. But not only that, I take plenty of holy water and anointing oil and plenty of Jesuses and crucifixes. I'm just saying, you think I'm playing? I'm not. I do. I take all kinds of stuff. I mean, look, man, I carry bags and stuff. And hey, Joey, welcome back. I mean, I do. You just never know. And I was telling Athena, I was like, the only thing I don't have is a psychic medium. And everybody's like, Grizzly, well, you can do it. But you don't want to be your jack in the box in one thing when you're being filmed and filming and everybody's filming you at the same time. That's just awkward. But I do have a couple of sneaky tricks up my sleeve. So, yes, because, you can do things remotely, right? Okay. I got iPads, mini iPads, you name it, we got it. So we're just going to go down there and it's going to be interesting. So, and I got I can't even say it without laughing, my SpongeBob boxers that I'm going to sleep in just for the show at night.
Oh my God, one of my dearest friends loves SpongeBob, and he has apparel as well. And he's like one of the most mystical shaman guys I know during the day. But at night he wears his SpongeBob, so you guys got that in common. That is too darn funny.
Living a pineapple under the sea.
Oh my God. Oh, crazy.
Anyways, enough of that.
I did pick a few cards and all for today just to kind of see what kind of message. And when I was asking Spirit afterwards, like after we go through the messages for everybody, what would be a good thing to go through is in my book, Portal to Potential, which is all this channeled messages from Spirit. There's a whole section in there on resiliency and the principles of resiliency and what it means to be spiritually resilient. And I think in light of the disasters, the natural disasters, friends that have lost loved ones, people that are changing or losing jobs, just all the stress that's out there, I think it might be a good, it's a little bit more serious topic, but I think it might be useful at this point in time to go through, and we can have some fun too, of course, you can't start with SpongeBob and then,
I know, look at Joey. I almost got up. Joey did that. I almost got up and grabbed him. I'm not going to grab him. No, hold up. I'm not going to put him on. I'm going to put him on when I'm recording. Boy, she's already laughing. I'm going to put him on when I'm recording at night. Yes. Oh my
God. Well, that'll scare the spooks away if nothing else, right?
She did not. She did not.
All right.
Oh my Lord.
All right. So.
All right.
Anything else you want to say there before I get serious?
No.
You are out of control, sir, but that's all right. You got a lot of good stuff going. And
yes,
by the way, I'm sure you know this and y'all know this. Laughter is the best medicine to keep evil forces away, right? That laughter and light that comes, there's like that's like kryptonite to any of the negative energies.
Well, I do want to say something before you start. I do apologize. I'm going to call out Joey. So Joey and his, I'm going to say other half at the conference. Look, Joey's like, he is not. I am. Hold on. I'm going to make myself big. Joey was at the conference and he had this woman with him.
Now, be nice. Be a gentleman.
And this woman asked about marriage. And I'm like, oh, shut the front door. Oh, and he looked at me like, and I looked at him like, and everybody looked at him like, and looked at her like, and he's like, that's my sister. We thought they were husband and wife.
He set you up. He set you up, dude.
We thought they were husband and wife.
No.
I had my dowsing rods.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, wait, hold on. Let me get my pendulum and see what it says.
yeah, it was funny as all get out because I mean they just went bloop.
Oh no.
Yeah, we thought they were married. And I was like, man,
God.
she just asked that question in front of her husband.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You know,
Poor
fun thing
Joey's
to do with dowsing rods, you probably do this as well, but you can play with auras with that. So you get somebody that's far across the room from you, and you sit there with your dowsing rods and you ask them to make their energy bigger by sending love out, and they go whoop, and they open right up. Right? It's a beautiful thing there. So that is how you can use it to kind of tell if somebody has some love going on.
Oh my God. It was all get out. It was funny as heck.
Oh yeah.
I think Joey just left the room. Joey, are you still here?
now. Oh Lord. All right.
Anyways. All right, after you. I'm done.
No, thank you. You don't have to be done. I'll just talk a little bit now. You can jump in anytime you like. You're on. You're part of this gig.
This is all you. I'm just hitting buttons.
All right. So I asked the angels. I said, give me some messages for today for the group. And so y'all, for those of you who've been here before with us, you know that any of the messages that come, they're for you tonight. But if you're tuning into this a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, these messages are also for you. That's how the way spirit works. It's like the right messages will always come out just when you need to hear them if you're open to receive them. All right. So the first message that came up tonight was actually the entrepreneur angel and card. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, because what this means for us is that we can be our own bosses and we can develop projects of our heart. We can really go and run with the things that come into our life and be amazed at how they unfold and connect the dots. And even just like those coincidences that happen. And Grizz, you and I were talking about it earlier about that other network, that it's like, I just happened to be a guest on a show and they're saying they're looking for more spiritual content, and who knows, right? It's like, that's what happens when you're in the flow with spirit. And so that entrepreneurial mindset is you are your own boss. You are the boss of your soul and your energy and what you do with it. What you do for your 9-to-5 job doesn't really matter so much as what you do with that rest of the time of what's important to you, what's important to your soul. And as you develop more of those spiritual gifts and you start using your abilities out there in the world for creativity or fun or whatever you like to do with it, it will start to make you money. And then you can have more choices about, do I still keep that 9-to-5 or do I start to transition over into something else? The next card I got was the Archangel Uriel. And Uriel is interesting because he works with the ruby ray, which is basically a blend of some purple and gold together there. But he is known for being the angel of wisdom and spirituality. When I have seen depictions of Uriel, he always seems to have that book of wisdom with him. So there's that. He's the friend of teachers, but he's also the friend of anybody who's learning and wants to develop their spirituality. So, well, that kind of makes sense for our audience, that's tuning in, because people that are interested in what we're sharing probably would enjoy that. And the last one, I think this is especially was for you there, Grizz, but as well as a reminder for all of us. And it was the Presence of Angels card. And it's reminding us that we are watched over by heavenly beings. Remember to ask for assistance and let them show you the way to progress in your life. Remember to talk to your angels and ask for their blessing and help, especially in all circumstances that you're going to be going in, right? So that was, you're going equipped with all your tools, but remember to also ask for those spiritual assistants that are out there. All right. Then I picked a couple of tarot cards, and just to kind of get a sense for what is going on right now for most of us. And the first card I got was the Ace of Swords, and it's reversed. And this is saying that we are getting so busy in the world that we have to make a conscious effort to get back in touch with our intuition and our spirituality, and don't let the busyness of the worldly stuff stop us from being that light, stop us from being that loving spiritual being that we are. Because, it's like I was running around like crazy today all week. This last few weeks, it's just been like, go, 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 go. And it's like, wait a minute. Remember to rest, recharge, connect with spirit, because we can only be effective in the outside world for so long before we have to recharge that spiritual battery. Kind of think of it like a big old pendulum swing, right? Or filling up that cup, right? Okay, we can keep drinking from that cup for a while or sharing that cup, but we have to go back and refill it every now and again and recharge ourselves. The next card that's there that came up was really interesting. The Hierophant. The Hierophant to me represents all of those authority figures out there, all those folks that want to tell you the right way to do something or the way you're supposed to do something, all those woulda, coulda, shoulda type people. And it's upside down. It's saying, no. This is not a time for other people to be telling you how to live your spiritual best self life, your most creative, soul-fulfilled, purpose-filled life. This is totally your call. You can ask for opinions. You can bounce things off of respected others, but there should be nobody who is an authority in your spiritual life above you. You are the one that knows it. You are the one that's in tune with your soul's purpose. What brings you joy? What brings you that sense of fulfillment and how you want to spend your time? So be careful with that, because a lot of times when you're on a roll out there, people will grab you, right? Grizz, the people are like, oh yeah, come help me with this project. Come help me with that project. Let's do this. Let's do that. And next thing you know, you're spread so thin, you're like, wait a minute, where's the time for me to rest and recharge and do the things that are fun? And, and I know most of this is fun for you, Grizz, but, for some people, if they're spread too thin, even too much of a good thing is too much, right? You need to kind of take things in manageable chunks. And then that led me to the last card here, which kind of reminds me of balance. And that kind of ties it all together. The Four of Pentacles. And what I love about this card is it has balance in how you think, balance on how you feel, and balance about what you do with your life, what you do out there. So if you always combine the intellect, the heart, and the gut, you will always be successful in what you're doing in the world. You'll have a richness to the quality of your life if you have those couple of things in balance there. So that was what came up as the messages for today. So I will pause for a second to see if there's any questions, and if not, I'll dive into the resiliency stuff, since that was...
Yeah, everything's going great, and everybody's liking the cards that you're pulling. So awesome. Rock it on.
All right. So of course, if you want to get this book for yourself, it is available on Amazon, and all proceeds go to the scholarship fund of the Monroe Institute. It is all channeled writing, other than introduction and a little bit that I wrote on spirituality. The rest of it is all questions and thoughts and things to ponder. All right. So the first principle of resiliency, number 1, ask better questions, because what you focus on grows. Do not dwell on things outside of your control. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Why do bad things happen to good people, which, is natural when bad things happen to good people. Ask instead, so this now what? Where do I go from here with what I can handle, with what I can do, or what I can influence myself? All right. So that's one of the first levels, is start thinking in the right direction, right? Then number 2 is do the best you can with what you have or have left. In the normal course of life, or whilst in the midst of a crisis or a time of tribulation, it is critical to focus on what you are doing to move in the direction of what you want and need. Begin or resume with the end in mind. So again, in times of loss or crisis, one of the things that's really important to figure out is, okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to get there from here, but where do I need to go? Where do I need to get? What needs to be? What are my next few steps? Right? So you can't take a huge, what was the old saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? And so a lot of times when you look at the remains of a flood or a tornado or a hurricane or the loss of a loved one, which means like the whole life and social structure for that family is turned topsy-turvy. It's like, where do you even start, right? So just really be patient and loving with yourself and do the best you can. Okay, number 3, be clear about what you want and don't want. If you're sending mixed messages to yourself and to others and to the world around you, you'll get very mixed results from your efforts. So that clarity is important, and being okay to ask for help. Again, you know, hopefully by now y'all realize I'm a big proponent of, we are truly all brothers and sisters here. We are all individuations of a source, a being that has decided to come onto this side of the veil to experience all the things that we're experiencing together, right? Acknowledge your progress. Even if you are frustrated at how slow or little you seem to be accomplishing, focus on the little wins, the little victories, and that move you in the right direction. Trust that your momentum will eventually build up. And in line with that is express gratitude for the gifts, blessings, and opportunities, and any help that's available or that has shown up in your life, both in the past as well as in the present.
Interesting.
All right. More about asking for help when you need it. Be honest with yourself and others. Know that part of the reason we live in society and community with each other is because we were never meant to go through life alone. We are supposed to be here for each other. So that's again part of, you know, part of the joy of this whole experience is how we connect. If we weren't supposed to connect, there wouldn't be all this individuation. There wouldn't be all this variety that's out there in the world. This is something interesting that came through. And again, these were channeled. So pain is sometimes a message to do something different, to start something new, or to stop doing something which is no longer useful. And when I first read that, and I remember when these channel things came through me, I felt like I was just taking dictation from spirit. I was writing them down as fast as they could come. And sometimes I read it and it's like, yeah, that's nice. And other times it's like, ooh, dang. And this was one of those, you know, pain is sometimes a message to do something different, start something new, or stop doing something which is no longer useful. No guilt trips here, guys, right? No guilt trips, no shame. This is just what's going on. If something seems like it's hurting us in some way, it's like, all right, what's the plus side of this? What should I be aware of? What do I now have the opportunity to start to do versus stop doing? All right. Remember the importance of self-care. Be sure to get enough sleep, exercise, proper nutrition, make time for social, spiritual, and emotional recharge. If you are going through a crisis in your life, most likely, most of your core needs are barely getting met, right? So the more you can do to take care of them, grab those moments for yourself to get that rest and recharge. Yeah, that's important. Your body, mind, and spirit are all interconnected. So be sure you're balanced in each aspect of your life. The more balance you have when those times of tribulation and crisis and challenge come up, you'll be so much better equipped to handle them. You'll be able to hear the promptings of spirit better to know how to respond. And even though it may not be a situation that you're fond of, you don't really have a doubt that you're going to get through it. You know you'll get through it because you feel that sense of balance, even though this may be shaking you. It's kind of like a house with a really good foundation. An earthquake comes and you feel the tremors. You're like, okay, I'm pretty sure my house isn't going to fall down, but this is still a little scary in this moment. I just have to have that faith that I'm going to get through it. And what do I need to secure in the meantime? You know, what do I need to make sure is okay? Prepare until you are as ready as you can be. The better you are prepared, the less you have to fear. When you do this, there is a sense of peace and joy that will be present for you despite the happenings in the world around you. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit before. You know, you can expect the best, but prepare for the worst. And because optimism and what you focus on grows, and that light and enthusiasm and that positivity that we can bring to every situation will always be a blessing. And being prepared doesn't mean you're inviting the disaster. It just means like if something's going to happen, you'll be ready for it. And if it doesn't happen, you'll be able to be there for somebody else as well. Hello, Tristan. I see you. All right. And then act when the time is right, when you are prompted and inspired to do so. Trust yourself and all who have proven themselves trustworthy in your life. And then the last part of this that came through was do what is right all the time, no matter what. If you live your life with integrity, ethics, morals, civics, and a focus on what is righteous, true, charitable, and loving, you will live a quality life regardless of your external circumstances. Your life will have purpose and meaning far greater than whatever you do to earn your daily bread. So these were some principles of resiliency that came through, and Spirit was like, ponder on these and see how they would want you to change and improve and address what's going on or happening around you and in your world. So I felt like it was important to share that because, again, there's so much, I'm going to call it churning that's out there. And, I was just talking to a friend earlier today, and I said, there's a lot of joy in my life and there's a lot of challenge in my life. And there's a lot of success that's spinning. And there's also a lot of people that are not happy necessarily when you get successful. And there's other ones that are thrilled for you. And you start to see how some people just don't know how to relate to you because they think you're going to leave them, or people aren't necessarily holding you back in your jobs or in your social circumstances. But I think there's a fear that, well, if you go off to college and leave that small town that you were raised, you may never come back. And it's like, well, maybe. But I also think that you can be that inspiration to show people what's possible if you leave that small town, if you go off and get that degree or that training or have that worldly adventure, whatever it may be. Or you join the military and you go, I'm going to go see the world, right? My daddy did that. He joined the Navy because he wanted to see the world. And he shared a few adventures with me over time. And it's like, all right, yeah. Sometimes service can have some perks, right? You get to see certain things. But I also realized that so much of what's going on in other people's lives, people that we love and care about, our friends, can impact us, but we can't let it inhibit our ability to be resourceful and to be clear on the best way to help them, right? And what's appropriate, to help them. And also knowing when you need to call in the big guns, right? Grizz, if you're in a really, really wicked haunted place and you're seeing some stuff that's horrible, call in the professional exorcist, right? There's certain spirits that you go in. There's other times you're like,
holy water and run.
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna wait for the guys with the big guns, right? And like even with my friend that I was talking about in the beginning, there's some things I can do, right? I can put her wish list of underwear, socks, clothes, dressers, appliances and whatnot out on Facebook. I can put it out there and say, hey, y'all, if you own a company that, send her a gift card, if you know somebody, that's in the area, swing by with a hot meal. I can do those little things, but she needs like the FEMA to go in there and help clean up, some of the major, like there was oil spill that got into everything. And that needs like hazardous waste, people to take things away. Right? I can't help with that, but I can help with some of the other little things. She lost all her sacred treasures, right? All her little, her Buddha and her Jesus and the statues she had on her little altar and her sacred stones she'd pick up in her travels and her jewelry and all. I'm like, okay, I got connections there. I know spiritual people. So I know we're going to be able to get her, a little goodie box with, maybe it's not your original, but it has good mojo.
So we have a question about something, and I want to know your part. Audio's got a question for audio listeners on iHeart, Spotify, Google, and Apple. What is your opinion on using cards, tarot cards, if you're not experienced?
Okay. As far as using them, it depends what you mean by using. If you're just playing with them, you're curious, you're trying to have an experience, I think as long as, excuse me, got a frog in my throat here. As long as you open up and you're being clear for what purpose, I think using cards is fine. And the only way you're going to gain experience is by using them and seeing, okay, am I getting the right answers? Am I getting things that make sense? In most decks, they have companion books that go with them. They have something that can give you some ideas. I feel like you just lobbed me a softball pitch there, because on Halloween, for those of you who are not going out trick-or-treating, I'm actually hosting a 2-hour Zoom workshop on how to read the tarot cards. And it's only $25 because I want it to be something that'll be fun and party-like and have lots of people signing up and having some fun learning how to use cards from somebody who's been using them for over 40 years. So I could give you some pointers and tips. I would think any tool that you feel drawn to, whether it is angel cards, oracle cards, tarot cards, pendulums, as we were playing with in the beginning, dowsing rods, tea leaves, palms, whatever tool you feel called to experiment with or use, I think that you want to honor that intuitive part of you that said, oh, I'd like to learn more about this. I would hesitate going out and hanging up a shingle and saying, okay, I am now a professional psychic tarot card reader, or going to a psychic fair and, putting a booth up and saying, okay, come to me and I'm going to read for you. If you're just kind of starting out and you really don't have a relationship with the cards and you don't understand a lot of how the whole thing works, that's probably not a good idea. But just kind of experiment with them and having that sense of curiosity and learning and seeing how it works for you and which tools seem to be most accurate for you and that you connect with, I'm saying go for it. Go have fun with that. I don't know. That's what I think. What do you think, Riz? Any thoughts on that?
So what I did, I saw people on TikTok, and I went on a journey to debunk them, because I was like, there is no way that these people are giving these messages. So, excuse me. Let me mute myself. There we go. And so I learned tarot myself. And then as I learned, I saw that these people were not doing it correctly. And then my spirit guides were like, listen to me, Grizzly.
Grizzly, listen to what I have to say and tell them what I am saying.
And I was like, oh, snap. Okay. And then as the tarot cards would come out, I would be like, well, this is the meaning of the card. However, this is your meaning you're supposed to get from this card. And this is what I'm seeing from your past going into tomorrow or next week or your future, right? So then I was getting the meanings. And then I would see imagery, or I would see a motion picture of what was unfolding. So everybody's different. So you will get a picture of, let's say, the King of Pentacles, and I will get the King of Pentacles, right? We will get the same meaning, but different imagery. So, and that's why I was trying to explain to people, like your deck, you may use a different deck than I do, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I do use Oracle decks, and I love Oracle decks. Now, what's weird is that I have them to my left and I have them behind me in my studio, to where I'll be sitting here, and I usually don't do readings because I have you guys, right? I used to do them all the time. I don't anymore, because unless you all ask me to, but I'll be like sitting here and I'll be like, Grizzly, you need to grab this deck. I'm like, oh, what deck? And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'll be looking and I'm like, what's this deck? What am I supposed to be grabbing? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I had this deck. And it's like, what lies beneath? Hidden features, oracle cards. And I'm like, okay. And for some reason, audio, I'm supposed to use this deck. That's my spirit guides telling me that there's a meaning in that deck just for this person. And then whoever else I'm reading, Lachelle, I may not use that deck. And that's how it works for me. Does that work for you the same way?
Yeah. So
now,
I used to use a whole bunch of different decks. And then I started using this Aquarian deck as the main one because I found it was very balanced and the pictures were.
I want to get it. I want to get that deck too. Isn't that somebody that you know that made that deck?
Yes, yeah, actually, yeah. So I was looking for the book. I don't know where the heck I put that book. But yes, Craig Julis actually wrote the companion book for this this card deck. It's the Aquarian deck.
Oh, King of Pentacles.
And right, and so one of the things that happens for me when I'm reading the cards is and when I teach people about this, I'll give you all a little, so just like for what Grizzly was saying here. So here's this 10 of Pentacles, right? The King of Pentacles. So what do you notice about this card, right? So first of all, it's a pentacle. Pentacle is all about balance, about the 5 aspects of your life, right? He's also behind him. There's a bull. What does a bull typically represent? Stubbornness or forcefulness, right?
Right.
And so and then he also has on a crown that has some rubies that are up there. And rubies are really cool stone because it's a very high vibration stone, but it also links the higher dimensions to ground it to the earth and the root chakra. So when you first see this, and then they also look kind of underneath, it almost looks like there's a bit of a crystal ball kind of look there underneath it, right? There's something else going on there. So one of the things that happens is if you actually read in the companion book what this particular card means, it'll say a certain something or other, and it'll have like a paragraph or two. And then when it's reversed upside down, it'll give another whole paragraph or a page of definitions. Right. But what you'll find when you're reading a card for a specific person, a certain part of the card almost lights up for me, calls to me. I notice it first more than anything else. And so I'll know which of the many definitions that are in that book are the one that applies to that person. But it's more than that. It's also what position in the spread did that card come in, because that's going to give me another whole angle to look at, or another facet or window to look at it. And then what are all the cards that came before it or after it, and how does it all weave together? And so it's not just as simple as this card means X. It's not black and white.
That is
It's
correct.
much more dynamic. And remember what we said in a prior episode, the tools have no power in among themselves. They're just tools. It's a way for spirit to come through and bring to the awareness of the reader or the person using those tools the messages that are most applicable for them or the person that they're reading for. And the tool is much more for your client, right, than it is for you as the reader. It's what puts their mind at ease. Because there's certain people that feel a little intimidated by the whole thought of tarot cards because they're honestly just ignorant of what they are and what their history is, right? But they may say, well, I much prefer if you do an angel card reading or an oracle card reading for me. I feel better with those. Okay, that's fine. I can
Audio
get the same
says they're definitely contact you for a reading.
Cool beans.
So, and how many times have they seen me, audience? Let me pull a couple more cards to clarify what I'm getting, because I'm not understanding the message. And that's what she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, because one card's not going to tell you everything. You may have to pull extra to get the full meaning or message. So, yeah.
Right. And a lot of times it's just a launching point into a whole spiritual download that's coming. But because it's something that you or your client are open to, the beginning of the meeting is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So if I'm reading for somebody and I'm like, you know what, and it's not, let's say I'm reading for a woman and this card comes up and I'm going to be like, okay, if it's right side up, there's a really strong man in your life who is helping you to get some balance, right? Or if it was upside down, it might be, who is that guy who is bullheaded and stubborn that is just whacking out your world, right? And so that will just open up the conversation and open up the energy in a different way, so we can go down whatever that train of thought is that spirit wants us to explore. And the other question is that I always wonder, like, so I'm reading for you, so why is this other person being represented in the reading? So they must have some sort of energetic significance to whatever it is that you're wanting to know, that you came with for that particular reading or session, or it's significant to understand that that relationship is integral to how you go forward in your life, either resolving the relationship, fixing it, or embracing it, depending on what particular tactic you're taking in the moment. But yeah, so picture cards can be really, very telling as well. And if it's yourself, so if I was reading for a man and I get that card, I'd be talking to them about making sure that they're that balance. How do they step into that king vibration of being the master of their world, the master of the balance, and balancing out the forcefulness, right? Because it has the bull there again, because you don't want to bull people over with your forcefulness, but you also need, a certain amount of energy and push to be a success in most things that you do in the world. So how do you balance that out? And we would talk about that, right? So sometimes we ask the question, the cards precipitate asking questions that then bring us down a whole nother line too. So,
and ladies and gentlemen, for $25, I'm telling you, sign up for the class. I mean, you got to, because I mean, it was hard. If you don't know what you're doing, to learn. It wasn't for me, because I had spirit guides to help me to understand, because I heard things, right? However, it's important, if you're dabbling into this, to know what you're doing the right way. And I stress that, the right way, right? Because once you learn a habit, it's hard to break. And I'm not trying to sell you something. I mean, it's just $25, and that I'm glad she's doing it for that, because a lot of people charge you a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
it's for me, it's about getting the information out there. And I will tell you, the tarot card was one of the first tools that I learned and used starting over 40 years ago. And one of the things that, they've been good friends, they became
they are with me, and I use my tarot cards a lot on myself, and a lot of people say they can't use them on themselves. And the thing though is that when you do the cards, right, I pray before I do anything, and a lot of people don't understand that. I pray, and however, universe, whatnot, white light. I'm just saying, but when the thing is that what you see out there on the internet is not what is reality, ladies and gentlemen. And I know this from experience, and I know this from people being on our channel. And you got to remember, the ones that have only been with me this year in the chat, you got to remember 3-4 years ago, I went on a spiritual journey, and I probably interviewed over 60 known psychics that are well known throughout the world, to debunk them, to catch them in lies and deceit. Instead, I found peace and sorrow about how they were grown from birth into their adulthood, and the tragedy they went through, and how they got their abilities. So, and then I went out there and TikTok and all these other platforms to see what people are doing, and I was astonished how people take people's money that don't even have abilities. And it's sad, right? And because, Athena went through a hiring process, which she did. And a lot of people don't know that, because we don't advertise that or talk about it. But she went through a process before she actually got on our platform. And I'm honored to have her, and because we want her to grow with us and her to grow too. But, we're here to help people. And when we talk about them giving readings, these little knick-knack readings that you see, 2 or 3 cards, that's nothing when you get a personal reading, ladies and gentlemen. I get personal readings from our psychics, and they are up to an hour long or longer because you actually get to ask questions and clarify. When we do tarot cards, like when I do them, right, 5 or 6, hey, David, welcome to the show. I do ask questions because I do get curious, right? Curiosity gets the cat or the mouse,
Yeah.
however you say it. But sometimes when we get the cards, we don't understand, you know, what it means to us. That's why we ask. What is, just like she said, who's the bullheaded guy in your life or your relationship? We ask those questions because we're curious, because the other cards are leading up to something we don't know, right?
Right.
So I just want to throw it out there because a lot of people I know have questions, but they're afraid to ask. So absolutely.
Yeah, and I know I have to agree with you. When I was traveling back east, I had a friend of mine show me a YouTube channel of this girl that has like 1 million followers, and she is advertising this, you know, spiritual development class, and pay her this like exorbitant fee to come take her class, and she's going to teach all these secrets. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, this woman was not like, she's not the real deal. She just had the right kind of energy and vibe. And I remember I lived in LA for a while, and I remember interviewing with a producer. They were casting for mediums and psychics for a new show that they were doing. And so I went and I did my thing, and they were like, wow, you're the real deal. But, you know, you're too old, you're too fat, you don't have the right look. You know, we're looking for a certain look, you know, for doing the work.
And that is so true. And I hate to say that. Yeah.
I was like, what? I'm like, okay, well, God bless you. And, you know, I hope your show is a success regardless. But I was just stunned. I was like, really? Like, really? You're more concerned about the looks and the optics than about the quality of the spiritual work that a person's able to do. And so that kind of stuff I'm seeing out there. But you know what I think, Riz? A lot of people, they just don't know what they don't know. And
no, they don't. They really don't.
If you've never been with somebody who truly does have a spiritual gift and who has devoted their life to fine-tuning their craft, you really won't know the difference. You know, you can very easily be deceived. And that makes me sad, because a lot of people, you know, think, you know, it reminds me back to the days I was a Reiki master in a traditional Usui system, where you actually intern and you have your level 1 first, and you spend a year and that, and then you do level 2, and then you apprentice with a master if you decide you want to become a master, and then you could be either a teaching master or a healing master. And it was following the Japanese system that was in place like since it was formed, right? Since it was first rediscovered. And then it got Americanized. And I am not kidding you. They were nicknamed the drive-through Reiki masters, because they said, oh, you don't have to do level 1 and then wait a year and then do level 2 and then, you know, intern with somebody and then level 3. If you pay me X number of dollars, you can have levels 1, 2, and 3 all in one weekend, and go out there as a Reiki master and go start teaching. And I was just horrified beyond belief. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, there's a reason you wait from level 1 for a year, because you need to integrate that energy and understand how it works, and understand how to use it responsibly when you're interacting with others, and what's you and what's a healing crisis that's precipitated, and all that. There's so much to learn at that level. And then at the next level, and the whole other set of tools, how to do the psychic healing and the connecting at a distance and remote, and tuning into different parts of people as you're working on them, and the spiritual level as well as the emotional level. And there's that to learn. And then there's the whole, how do you teach and initiate somebody else once you become a master, and how the responsibility of when you have a tradition that you're representing, you have to honor that tradition. You don't shortcut it and say, oh, I know better. And so I understand, like with technology, that there's shortcuts, and I understand, you know, with social media and on the internet, there's ways to do things a little faster and maybe better in some instances. But when it comes to learning, and when it comes to truly mastering a craft, you know, do you know what I remember reading this definition years ago, that in order to become a master at your craft, you need to devote on average 10,000 hours at doing whatever that thing is. So if you want to be a master pianist, you need to be playing the piano for 10,000 hours. You know, by the time you reach that, it's second nature. And you know what? I've done 10,000 readings over the course of my life, you know, so I feel like, yeah, I'm a master at that. I know how to work with energy. I know how to communicate with spirit. I know how to do these things. So when people say, oh yeah, I learned how to do this, and I'm just like, you know, I'm naturally gifted. Well, of course you are. We all have natural spiritual abilities. You know, it doesn't make you any more different or special that you can charge these exorbitant fees and not deliver. It's like, yeah, charge. If you're going to charge a lot of money, you better darn well deliver the most amazing quality for those bucks. And for me, I'm blessed right now. I don't need to charge a lot of money in order to make what I need to pay my bills. I don't. I set myself up from other things I did in my life. So I don't have to charge hundreds and thousands of dollars, you know, per reading, right? I don't have to do that, you know, or per class. To me, there's a joy in being of service and sharing and downloading and getting this information out there to people and lighting a fire underneath people so that they can feel that excitement and curiosity and say, hey, yeah, I really want to give this a try, right? I want to play with this. And also, when you're not a slave to the money attached to it, you have a much clearer energy and can be free to tell somebody the absolute truth, even if that truth seems like it's pushing them out of the nest, or instead of giving them a hug, you're kicking them in the butt and telling them, like, you need to focus on this. Well, if this person's paying you $20,000 to take your weekend retreat, you might be getting some important changes they need to make, but you might not be willing to open your mouth because that's your bread and butter. You're not going to be free, you know? So I think, you know, you really have to, money's such a weird thing in our economy, right? In our world.
It is.
People don't value things that are free. I know that. And some.
I'll tell you what.
It's a generalization.
I had a woman, what was it, last night that reached out to me. And she said, Grizzly, I have watched your shows for over a year, and you are an evidential medium, psychic medium. I was like, yeah, that's what they call me, whatever. She said, I want to experience you. And I said, really? I said, first off, I said, I need you to quit slouching in your recliner. That freaked her out. That freaked her out. Yeah, right? I said, now sit. I said, sit up straight. And I heard a recliner go click, click. And I said, now close your eyes and follow my instructions. And I said, I'm going to pinch your right wrist and touch your right hand. She screamed. And I said, you want more? But there's a process, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I just can't do that. The person has to be in the right mind. I have to get you to clear your mind. It's just, you just can't do that.
Right.
I wish she was in the audience right now. She would be like, dude, this guy did it. Not everybody can experience that because you have to clear your mind, you have to meditate, and I mean, and I've got to be in the right sound mind to do it.
I just want to circle back around to now. There is something to be said that when something costs a lot, some people, they work hard to get it, or they respect it. But all I'm saying is there should be a congruity that if you're going to charge $1,000 for a retreat or a workshop or a session, you better deliver $1,000 worth of value to that person. Okay. That's all. Just be congruent and also open your heart, because not everybody has that full amount, right? I think I told you early on, I used to work psychic fairs where I made $7 for a reading. I also worked for the Rockefellers for a party they did, and I got $2,000 for a night, right? And to me, the quality of the readings are just as good as if I'm reading a psychic fair for somebody that's paying me $7 or for a high-end famous client who is paying me thousands, right? It shouldn't matter. our heart should dictate and tell us, you know what? For this person, I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to do it for discount. I'm going to barter. Because this is what makes it beautiful. And it's that gift and that exchange of energy. Yeah, you shouldn't have to do your gift for free. It's my livelihood, right? It's for people that do this, it's your livelihood. So you need to make a living. But once you've made that living and you're at a comfortable place, you don't need to just keep adding on and making it so you're not reachable to the masses. I heard somebody say to me the other day, Grizzly, well, I like to charge $500 an hour, so I don't get the riffraff. I only want wealthy people because, then I don't have to worry about collecting and this and that. And I was like, oh, you're just going to burn in hell, woman. As I'm thinking that.
Oh man,
like,
this
I was
one
like,
lady,
where is your heart? Where's your
paid
humanity? Like,
$3,200 to get rid of a curse. $3,200 for a curse.
Oh my God.
You know what I told her?
Disgusting.
I said, I could have done it for free.
Yeah. I was going to say, where's that book? Where's that holy water? Exactly.
I could have done it for free. So,
yeah. So, folks, the moral of the story is, look, you use your gifts that you have to the best of your ability, experiment with them, grow them, love them, share them. And if you ever get to the point where you're doing it for your living, you listen to the promptings of spirit and your own heart and your own needs and put it out there in what feels right for you. And the people that like your energy and need what you have, they will find you. They will show up. And hopefully, and I said this years ago, I grew up poor and I didn't have the money. And I went and I bartered my butt off to take a lot of the classes. The very first psychic development course that I took, I wound up taking the tape cassettes home and typing up the class for the teacher in order to take that 8-week class for free. Right. So for me, it's part of paying it forward that now that I'm in a position that I have something to share with others, I'm going to be open to whatever people want to suggest. It's like, you want to pay me? Great. You have something else you want to do? I'm open. You want to sponsor me? You want to host a retreat or a class? Get what? You get to take it for free when you sponsor or host it. So there's always ways to work around it. If you don't have the money, don't let the lack of money ever stop you from what you want in life. Feel the love, feel the joy, spread that stuff out there, and you'll always be in flow. I hear music. Is that my cue?
Yeah, it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of the night. Yes. So,
man, it goes so fast, Prince. How does it go so fast?
It does.
How? I don't get it.
I tell you, tonight at 9:00 tonight, let me make myself as same size as you. We got a girl coming on. I don't know if she's going to talk about it. I want to tell everybody. It happened to her twice. It's been documented. I'll say by the Roman Catholic Church. Does that give you a hint?
Oh, boy.
And it's been on TV. She's got books, but she's also a Bigfoot researcher. So I don't know what direction she's going to talk about. So you enjoy your cruise.
Thank you. I will.
And
so I may or may not tune in next week, guys. If I'm here, great. If not, God bless you, and I'll see you.
Right. So yeah, and don't forget tonight, 9:00, with less than an hour coming up. Less than an hour coming up. We're going to talk to her. She is famous. I'm not going to say her name, so you won't go out there and Google it and be like, "Oh my God, it's her." Yes, she's been on TV, got books about her, and don't forget the filming this weekend. So how it's going to go down is allegedly we're going to be filmed as we're filming the hunt, and we're going to be investigating these locations, and we're going to be filming the film we're filming. I don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to be doing it. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have night vision equipment and all kinds of gadgets. So last time I did a ghost hunt, I got chased by a ghost and I froze. I thought I was going to die. And it turned out to be a guy riding a bicycle in the middle of a cemetery at nighttime. Now, who the heck does that? Yeah. And I mean, everybody thought I was going to get eaten. But anyways, yeah. So tune in for that, ladies and gentlemen. And from coast to coast, around the world, thank you. Enjoy your trip. And we'll catch you on the flip side, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care now.